Warning: the video you are about to watch contains horrible acting. Your discretion is advised. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Real Life, starring Christopher Lasardo, Tim Wagner, Ryan Holstein, and Mr. Spur. Today's guest star is this guy. Who is this? You did a background check on this guy, right? On today's episode, we will be showing you the toughest things about being a teenager. Are you ready? Well then, sit tight and... strap in! Okay. Well anyways, folks, the first trouble of the day is lack of independence. Now, teenagers are rebellious at heart. If you don't believe me, take a look at this example.
Hey, wait. You're not going the right way. Shut up!
Now, this is one of those rare times when a teenager like Chris can make his own decision. And he chose to spend it on walking the wrong way. Genius. Usually, a teenager's parents set up the rules for the teenager to follow. These can be things like chores, or perhaps curfew.
Curfew was an hour ago.
It was? For a teenager, lack of independence can be very frustrating. As a child, arbitrary rule following can be overlooked. However, with teenagers, they are much more self-aware and feel like they know what's best for them. This is not always the case, but regardless, lack of independence can lead to a lot of stress on both ends. Okay, on to a more manageable topic. The next stressor is time management. Time management is the most difficult when you're in your teens because up until this point, the teenager's parents did everything for them. When combined with rebellious tendencies, it can make it very difficult for a teenager to focus on what they need to do. We see this commonly with sleep and especially homework. Sometimes there's even a mix of the two. It is very common for teenagers to let all of their work build up on top of each other, leading to situations like this.
Who cares how many grams of dihydrogen monoxide it takes to drown a mole? And after I got this stupid English project. So much work.
After you get done with your little homework assignments here, make sure you finish up the dishes, get the living room vacuumed. You also need to get the lawn mowed. It's dark, so hopefully you don't knock anything over. And then don't forget to pick up your brother at band practice at 9 o'clock.
The best way to avoid these problems is to plan out a schedule on what you're going to do beforehand and then trying to stay as focused as possible on the tasks that you set for yourself. The third big stressor is self-image. Many teens are very concerned of how their peers view them as a person, and this factors into what they wear and how they perceive themselves. In this clip, Chris is fat. I mean concerned with his own weight.
It's too late, narrator. You already called the kid fat. There's no going back.
Geez, sorry. Just play the clip.
Okay, come on. Give me something good. Something good. Dang it!
We found that the best way to avoid this and this was to just be yourself. When a teenager just acts like themselves instead of letting their peers dictate their actions, the more comfortable they become with themselves, and the less stressful they will be about themselves overall. Here, take a look.
Yeah, Chris, looking good.
I look good today.
Next, let's talk about friendship. Friends can be stressful for pretty much one reason: peer pressure. Peer pressure is when someone's actions are directly influenced by other people around them.
Would you care for a cigarette?
I don't know, man. My mom told me not to.
Come on, just take a.
Even when something is stupid and uncool, like fidget spinners, seeing other people around you seemingly having fun with them could perhaps persuade you to pick one up and join in on the fun. In order to combat this, just keep a level head and do what you think is right. Don't do drugs, kids. Drugs are bad.
Here, try some.
No thanks, man. That stuff's not for me.
Suit yourself.
I will.
And finally, we come to what could perhaps be the biggest stressor for teens of all: relationships. High school is where most students will find themselves in a romantic relationship with somebody else. And due to this being the first time, no one knows what to do. Thankfully, we have a team of skilled actors to help teach. Oh dear God, why?
Do you want to go with me?
Of course I do, you silly Billy.
Are you okay? My darling, I am so quite alright.
Just no. A likely scenario would be preparing for prom.
What do I do? My girlfriend finally sent a picture of her dress for prom so I can match her, so that I can set up my outfit to match hers. The only problem is I can't figure out what the color of the dress is.
When in a relationship situation, don't be afraid to ask your parents or your friends for guidance, specifically your parents, because they've gone through this weird phase before. In fact, you can go to your parents for any problem that we listed off today. In fact, that'll be the moral of the story. Talk to your parents, because they know a lot better than we do.
Remember, everybody has stress in their life, not just teenagers. Everybody has their own obstacles they need to overcome. But just like Tim, you can overcome whatever you face every day.